Hello, everyone. Today, in this video, I will show you how to create a zip file using Power Automate Flow without using any third-party connectors in SharePoint Online site. For example, let's say this is my SharePoint site, and in this I have this document library, all the files, whatever I have here, I will zip and store in this folder automatically using Power Automate Flow, and one copy I will create in SharePoint Document Library. Here, and another copy, I will send it to my OneDrive at a time. And one good thing in this process is I am not using any third-party connectors here. First, I will execute this flow, and then I will explain it, and you can use this solution in your Power Platform. While you are working with Power Automate, let's execute this flow. This is a manually triggered flow. I'm going to run this flow. It is getting ready for a run. And I'll click on this Test Flow button. I'm ensuring that in this folder, I don't have anything, no zip files available. This is empty. In my OneDrive, also this folder is empty. But after executing, I will get all the files in a zip file. From this root location of my document library in this folder, let's execute this. I will click on this Test Flow button. My flow is being executed. It is running. My flow ran successfully. I can see all actions are with green ticks. I will go to my SharePoint document library to see the zip file. Let's reload or refresh this page. Yes, I can see this. This is my zip file, which got created just now using my Power Automate Flow, and at the same time we'll go to my OneDrive location here. Also, I can see my zip file, which got created here as well, automatically using the Power Automate Flow. So, this is fantastic. This solution is very good and helpful. If we just expand this file, you can see all the files inside that zip file. I'm not getting into that. Now I will explain you how I have implemented this. Let's open this flow in edit mode. First, I have added a manually triggered action. However, you can add a scheduler or automated cloud flow. You can use any of the available triggers for your demo. For my testing, I have used as a manually triggered flow. I have added a scope control to group all my create zip file actions. So all the codes, all the actions I have grouped in a single scope. For better maintenance of this flow, it is good to group in a scope. Right? Here I have added one compose action with two parameters. I first configured this library path. Here it is shared documents. Then, pass the path of the folder from where you want to create a zip file. Here I have passed the root path of my shared documents library. So this is the root path of this document library, like whatever you have in this root folder or location. Everything will be zipped, right? Then, I have added this send an HTTP request to SharePoint action, where I have passed my site URL for the site address parameter. You can pass your site URL here. Then for the method I have passed as post, and this is the URI. This REST API is used to get a list using a path. You can see how I have passed the URI. I will share these codes in my blog post, so don't worry about this. I will mention my blog post URL in the comment section of this video. You can just copy it and use it in your Power Automate flow. Then pass the body parameter as shown on this demo. Add one more compose action to get the access token to access the files. Rename this compose action to access token to access file here. I have passed this input as outputs from the previous action. Send an HTTP request to SharePoint for file info. And this is the outputs of that. You can see how I have passed the access token. Then, I have added a select action, where I have passed the listData.row from the send an HTTP request to SharePoint for file info above action for the from parameter. Then I have mapped the file name, size, doc ID, and whether it is a folder. You can see on the screen how I have mapped it. Basically here, I am creating a data mapping for the SharePoint file attributes. You can see how I have mapped the file properties like name and size, whether it is a folder, and others. Yeah, you can see how I am passing. You can see here on the screen. Here I'm checking whether this is a folder or not using the if function. This select action formats the output of send an HTTP request to SharePoint action ready for submission to the zip endpoint. Then, I have added one more compose action and renamed it to attachment items. This code additionally formats the select array. Here, for the items, I am passing the output of this previous select action. Then I have added an HTTP action. This action actually does the job of creating the zip file. This HTTP request action submits the request to the media server and downloads zip file. Then for the method I have passed as post. And for the URI, I have passed this parameter. You can see the format of how I have passed this list schema and media base URL. You can see the complete text URL and dynamic parameters along with the query string. And this the query string I have passed here. You can have a look on the screen for the exact URI that I have passed here. Then, pass the content type in the headers as shown in this HTTP action. For the header's exact value, you can see how I have passed here. Then, come into the body part. Pass the parameter for the body exactly as shown in this HTTP body action. However, you can pass a different zip file name as per your requirement. This part is very important, as this action is handling the creating of the zip file. This action is constructing the zip file, so this is a crucial step. Then, I have added two Create Files actions. Create File in OneDrive. Another is Create File in SharePoint. So, this is for my OneDrive zip file. Here, zip file will be created. This is for my zip file creation in SharePoint document library. Here, you can use any of these two methods. Just to let you know how we can create a file both in OneDrive as well as in SharePoint, I have shown here. This is the folder name in OneDrive. And this is the zip file name in OneDrive that will be created by Power Automate. I have created this folder in my OneDrive as I have shown in the beginning of this demo. This is the folder, and this is my zip file which got created automatically using my Power Automate flow. This is the zip file parent folder. Here, I have passed the zip file name as static text. However, You can make it dynamic with the mix of dynamic content and formula expression for your actual requirement. You can make a dynamic name if you need. Then, for the file content, I have passed this one as shown in the configuration. Here, basically, I am converting my HTTP action output content to base64 to binary. You can see on the screen for the exact parameter how I am passing it. Right? And similarly, I am doing the same in the create file in SharePoint action. This is the create file in SharePoint action, and this is the site where I have to create the zip file. This is my site URL, and this is the folder path, which has document library along with my folder path. This is the folder I have created in the SharePoint document library. For your requirement, you need to pass your site URL and folder path where you want to create the zip file. This is the zip file name, same as the OneDrive zip file name. For the file content, pass the same parameter that you passed in the create file in OneDrive. So this is how I have implemented this. And this is a very good technique to create a zip file out of your SharePoint files using the Power Automate flow. Now, I will show you one more shortcut technique for how you can test this complex configuration in your environment without developing or configuring each action one by one, which is time-consuming. Here, what you need to do is just copy and paste this entire scope control code. Just go to this scope action and click on this copy to my clipboard right. Copy this scope control. Add a new scope control from the My Clipboard. I have the entire code here. In my OneNote, I will show you how you can copy this entire code and create a new scope control. Yes, I'm just copying it. And then what I'll do is click on this new step. Then I'll go to my clipboard. Already I had one more same stuff. So it is showing here. Generally, it will show the one which you copy. I'll just select this. You can see everything, all the setup, and whatever I had in my previous create zip file. Everything came as is. Just you need to change your site URL and document library name. That's it. Like from which site and document library you want to create your zip file and where you want to store your zip file. This is the configuration for the document library name and zip folder path. Then you need to change your site URL. Then coming to this. Here also you don't need to do any changes. If you need to create your zip file in your OneDrive, you need to pass your parameter. You can rename the file name if you want. Even, you can delete this step also if you don't want to create in your OneDrive. Now coming to the SharePoint, for creating a zip file in the SharePoint, you need to pass your site address. Give your site URL, then pass the folder path where you want to create your zip file. You can change the zip file name, or you may use as is. You don't need to do all this development or configuration from the scratch as you see here. The code that I have used here, you will get the complete code from my blog post. I will mention my blog post URL in the comment section of this video. That's all for today. I hope you liked and enjoyed this demo and learned something new today. If this helped you, please consider subscribing to my channel. In the upcoming days, I'll come up with many trending videos on Microsoft's latest technologies, like Microsoft Copilot, GenAI, Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, SharePoint Online, Artificial Intelligence, and many more. Kindly be with me and help me to grow on this journey. Thank you.